Hello.
Hello. Hi, Pujari. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?
You seem to be very happy.
Yeah, I have been getting some interviews, so that's the happy thing.
You've been getting interviews or are you getting offers?
We'll disclose it at a the later episodes.
Okay, so let's get started with the episode 3. The first topic that we are discussing is Meta. On July 7th, Meta released their image model. So if you've seen on your WhatsApp Meta AI app, like there's a floating thing, right? And
Yeah.
it was immediately prompting you that, hey, you can now create images with Meta's new AI, and they were trying to push it. And then immediately after 2 days, they released their Muse Spark Models, which is their API platform. It's their first time Meta is doing something like this. It was priced at 1.25, 4.25 millions per token for input and output, respectively. So a lot of people were really excited because the performance of the models were almost on par with Opus at like one tenth of the cost, right? So it's a good news for developers. It's a good news for people who are using these very expensive APIs that Anthropic offers, right? So you are getting Opus level capabilities at much cheaper rate. Of course, it's not at Fable level yet. No other model is at Fable level except maybe
Yeah,
Kimi K3.
definitely.
We will discuss about that later. But for most tasks, I think for all these wrappers that are built on different use cases, I think Opus level models do at least like 90% of the tasks. What do you think, Pujari? You have been a great user of Anthropic's models, Opus's models especially. So
Yeah.
if other companies are coming in and providing the same level of intelligence at one tenth the cost, here we are speaking about API costs, not subscription, because
Yeah.
Meta has not released any such subscription uh, models at subscriptions access. But if you uh, think about it, don't you think it's good?
I assume the competition is much needed for redevelopment and also for Anthropic to look into where they might be lacking and how they have to set ahead in the market. I assume but at par, to me, to my opinion, let's say I've been a daily user of Claude. I have a lot of my scheduled tasks on a day-to-day basis. So I definitely wouldn't be much convenient to switch or migrate to another AI because I myself, around 3 months back, I migrated from anti-gravity to Claude, and it took me almost 2 days time and for me to get adjusted to the new interface of Claude, it took me another couple of days. And as we measure the day productivity over these days, in a matter of few days or in a week, I feel I will definitely not move into that. But there is no harm in giving a good try. And I feel Claude Cowork is doing much better, and the new Opus model is way better than new Opus model is way better than their previous 4.8. So, and Fable is doing much better, and they're offering free Fable credits, free credits. So I think they're trying all their very best to stay ahead in the
How
market.
far have you used your Fable credits? Have you used it up completely or what?
Yeah, obviously no, but yeah, like I haven't found the time to actually utilize all the credits, but I feel it gives a more uh, reason to keep using Claude. And let's say if somebody has stuck in between, they've ended their credits and they really want to finish some task, I feel this credits is definitely going to help them. And I think Anthropic is trying to retain their customers by doing by burning some cash And I don't think there's something wrong in that, because since it's all in the burning phase, until they find a clear roadmap, I think that's pretty good as part of the
until their
competition.
IPO at least.
Until the IPO, at least, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the point about the stickiness of the product that you mentioned, OpenAI users, ChatGPT users, people, uh, so ChatGPT was one of the first AI products that the masses used, right? The consumers. So uh, they created stickiness, with their memories, with, if they set up their projects, making it hard for people to migrate. But uh, when Anthropic started getting traction, they quickly made it very easy to migrate from ChatGPT, where they said, hey, you could, import your memories from
Yeah.
ChatGPT and you can like continue your profile from where it had left, so you wouldn't feel it that hard. So, of course, Cloud Code as a harness is a really good tool. Uh, let's see how sticky it's going to be. ChatGPT is still the leader in consumer AI. Anthropic's majority revenue is from enterprises, and obviously ChatGPT's being a leader in consumer AI, majority of its revenue comes from subscription. So um, let's see how it goes. It is going to be a challenge for Meta to uh, create adoption amongst its users. We are yet to see how developers will make use of the Meta's new platform. Um, Another thing about this whole Meta releasing new models is that Zuckerberg came to Twitter to announce it, or known as X, and everybody was talking about, how he has his own social media platforms, but still he had to come to X. That speaks a lot about X as a platform, the reach it has, at least among maybe developer community, startup community, founders, business people. Despite owning some of the largest social media companies in the world, you had to go to a social media company which was not your own. And
Yeah, yeah.
I think Elon Musk commented about it as well, that a lot of top business people are joining the platform. He was very happy about it, of course, being the owner of it. What do you think? Do you use X regularly? What do you think?
Yeah, well, X, I mostly used to follow some content related to politics, but not being an avid user. I'm more of an Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube person, so I'm not used to that. But this definitely is very remarkable. But what Mr. Zuckerberg did, and I assume he definitely had some really good intention in the long run, because he's one of the first persons to ever build a social media platform at the large scale, at the scale of Facebook when he started in 2004. So I believe he definitely knows what he's doing.
Next topic we have in line is China's reusable rockets. Did you watch that video where China caught a rocket mid-air? They basically did exactly what SpaceX did all these days. SpaceX and of course Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos. But China just came out of nowhere. We didn't know they were working on reusable rockets and they did it. Did you get to watch that video?
Well, not, yeah, I saw a quick couple of clips and it was very interesting. And yeah, like China has always maintained the status that the development phase has to happen. It's not to be revealed until they see a good amount of success, is what they feel, compared to the US, where failure is treated as a badge of honor. And they proudly mention that they have been trying. Well, I feel China is following their own pathway, and as they're moving ahead in most of the fields ahead, I feel I think aviation is one place where they were actually not so ahead compared to the United States and the Europe, and I feel they're trying their best, and it was very interesting to see. And welcome to the competition to China.
Right. I think one key thing that we all have to keep in mind is that this is what SpaceX achieved in 2015, 2016 era. This is not a 2026 moment for China. Cost reduction is not just a soft touchdown, not just, the rocket coming and landing, but it also has to be reflight, right? With very minimal changes done to the rocket itself, probably just refueling. It has to be a cheap turnaround, basically. So this is a 2016 moment for China. I think the defining thing here will be how fast they can get to where SpaceX is right now. That is going to define who is going to lead the reusable rockets race, down the line 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
So China just did the 2015 SpaceX. The question is whether they can do a 2020 SpaceX in less than 5 years. So, and they've never had to compete on a turnaround time before.
yeah. But yeah, we never know. Chinese have had a tremendous amount of leap in the last decade, and I feel their expertise in manufacturing, which has increased tremendously. Uh, so I feel they will definitely catch up to that. Maybe may not be to the quality of what SpaceX is delivering, but definitely at a much shorter span than what SpaceX took to reach. I feel China will do that.
Right.
Is what I
China
feel.
is really going ahead in all these sectors. Our next topic is Kimi K3, a
Yeah,
frontier model from China, which is all over the news in the past couple of weeks. Everybody's talking about Kimi K3. I wanted to go and subscribe to Kimi K3, but all of their tires, the Pro, the Max plans, kind of what we have in Claude, all of them are sold out. So you can't really subscribe to Kimi K3 because uh, all of their subscription based level tires are filled up, and that's a really good thing for a startup, right? That is what every startup aims for. They want to sell out, right? I mean, at least I've never seen that happen for Anthropic or ChatGPT. I've never seen the sold out button, but it was pretty insane reaction. They launched on July 16 with the promise of open sourcing it in 10, 11 days, which they did. On July 27. They open sourced their entire model, or open weights, I should say. It was a 2.8 trillion model, right, with 896 experts, uh, mixture of experts, MOE, what they call it, activates 16 of 896 experts per token, 1 million context, the standard what we see nowadays, and it ranked number one on front end coding arena. So there are a lot of these examples that I was seeing on X where people built very, very beautiful websites, like mini games where you're navigating, and uh, the way Kimi K3 performed, it has ranked number one compared to all other models, beating US frontier models. And although, and obviously, it is not better than Fable in all five aspects. I mean, all the aspects, all the benchmarks, people still regard that Fable 5 is still humanity's greatest model that is available. But Kimi K3 is not far. People used to say it was 6 months away, 8 months away. China is, you know, needs maybe 6 months to 1 year to catch up, but they're close now. It's probably like 2, 3 months, right, before they launch probably something that is better than Fable 5. So the cost is roughly one third that of Fable 5. So that itself is a big win, right? You're competing on the
yeah,
cost there. And Moonshot also raised a new round, a new 3.5 billion round at a 35 billion valuation. So this is big news in the world of AI, and Kimi K3 is absolutely crushing it.
yeah. It's very nice that also see that China is giving very good competition and very hard on competition to the US frontier models. And I feel that is definitely how it should be. Well, definitely Asia lost to the operating systems race way back when Microsoft started to launch their operating system models and to the Mac OS and Linux. as we know it today, there are only mostly three widely used operating system models, and definitely they are the monopoly. United States still maintains the monopoly in the operating system, and I feel they're getting a very good tough competition to AI as well, and that's how it should be. And I feel, but when it comes to regard to the cost, I feel most, and as we are a capitalistic driven market right now, most of the daily consumers who use would definitely feel, even though their models what they release would be one third the cost of Fable, I feel they'll always prefer Fable, because people have always a perception and a perspective that always the better pay gets them better good amount of task and reliability of their downtime, so that they not get any downtime. And I feel Claude so far has never been down for a very long time, apart from whenever they're updating the new models. And Fable 5, which was banned for non-US citizens, also got back rolling. And I feel that's a very that's a very hard thing to hard thing to not look into. China also is giving a very tough competition, like I mentioned. I feel somewhere Europe is left behind in this. I think Europe has to definitely raise up. But again, Europe being the policy maker, they will do the best job in maintaining fair competition among the Asia and the
AI
West as
safety.
well. AI safety, and I definitely advocate for that, because at the scale at what it's happening before, there was a time just 5 years back where things used to take years together for a new rollout or new patch updates, but these days everything happened in just months, and I think down the line it might happen in weeks as well. It's not a surprise to I see coming. So yeah, but there'll always be a matter on how the data is trained. Well, I feel when it comes to quality of the data that's being trained by Claude, would definitely be way superior than what Kimi K3 has been trained. So as a Claude person who on a day-to-day basis relies on the data by Claude, and for my day-to-day work and scheduling activities, I always prefer Anthropic over the Chinese models.
Let's speak about India. India had its first private orbital launch. It makes India the third country with private orbital launch capability after US and China. Skyroot Aerospace, Vikram 1, right? Skyroot was founded in 2018 by two ex-ISRO engineers and first reached space within the suborbital Vikram S in 2022. It raised 60 million round in May 2026, which puts its valuation about at around $1 billion, and it's first India's first space tech unicorn. Um, so I think one place where ISRO pioneered always was the cost. I don't know if you have seen the meme, but it costed ISRO less than the budget of either Martian or Interstellar to for the Mars
Yeah,
mission,
Mars mission, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yes,
So
definitely.
I
And we were
think
the only country to not fail in the first attempt for the mission to Mars, and that's a very feather to the cap for ISRO of what they've done so far.
I think if we focus in India a lot on pioneering how to efficiently, of course, reusable rockets is one story, but even with one-sided missions where we are just sending a mission to a place and exploring like what we did in Mangalyaan, doing at very low costs and high efficiency is something the world can probably learn from India.
Yes, definitely, certainly, I definitely agree on that. Uh, I think when it comes to providing the same quality and with a much lesser cost, I think we Indians definitely have to be praised for that. And I think that's one of the main key reasons why mostly top leadership across the globe, when it comes to pricing in the sectors of pricing, and most CFOs are mostly Indians, but along with the CEOs as well, because I feel the Indian mindset has been deep rooted down on how we save the cost and optimize the money for expenditures. So I feel that's the trait what we are built upon and the values what we Indians are brought upon.
Yeah, one more important thing to note here is that until May of 2020, space was limited to public sector companies. And after that, India liberalized the space sector. This is in May of 2020. We got to orbit in 6 years, right? And apparently, that's the fastest policy to payload cycle that anyone has run outside of the United States. So it is a good feat.
Yeah, definitely. I certainly agree on that. And I really thank to all the policymakers of the present government who are actually voting for these new policy changes. And I feel expanding the sector to the privatization definitely would help in a lot of direct and indirect and employment as well, as we have a lot of core engineers getting back again with the advent of AI. Most of the top JE rankers are choosing back to the core engineering branches. So I definitely feel this sector is very booming and is definitely going to grow. And the government is going to be very happy with the decision, let's say 5 years down the line.
Yeah, I think we should have our own version of Starlink in India. Because if we are going to block Starlink because it's a US company or whatever, right? We should have our own version, right? Where remote areas in India can access. I agree we have the highest internet penetration, 5G penetration, whatever you may call it, but still in certain remote areas right now, if you don't have a tower nearby, it's really hard to get network. So maybe remote people live remotely in the middle of a farm, they should have their ability to, put a device and get internet directly from the satellite. So I think that would be a good market for Indian space companies to target.
Yeah,
So
very
speaking of
certainly.
internet, right, Airtel and Jio together have told that you cannot use uh, 5G internet for your hotspot, which means, you know how you turn on the mobile data in your phone and then
Mobile
connect
data,
to your
yeah, yeah.
laptop? You can't use 5G in that. You can use your 4G, and normally 4G is limited to 1.5 to 2 GB per day, whereas 5G they claim it as unlimited. So you can't use the 5G one. You can only use the
Yeah,
4G
yeah.
one. So that is
Yeah, I
something
too
they've come
heard
up with.
about this. Yeah, but I feel that's actually, I think, a competitive move by the executives who definitely would plan to increase their sales in the broadband communicate their internet services directly over their fiber net cables. So I feel that's actually a good move.
I agree. I agree. It would be a good move if they did not market it as unlimited 5G. Why would you market it as unlimited 5G, but then say, oh, no, only in certain cases?
Yeah, again, we forget to read the small star with the terms and conditions in any advertised product. I think that's where the consumers definitely fall behind. And I
Right.
think, again, at the need of the hour, people are ready to pay because internet is the fuel for today. Without it, you can't do any communications, you can't work, you can't commute. So it's like I think how the water is going to be controlled someday. Internet also is going to be controlled. And speaking of Starlink, I still remember the first time when I saw the video actually what the Starlink do. I still remember seeing in the clip where in a remote town in Africa, how the underprivileged kids definitely you get access to education just because they had a Starlink placed and the teacher visited their place and they started to teach them digital education. I feel that's one of the tremendous way where society can be uplifted. So yeah, even today, if we see the literacy rate of some states in India which are very well behind, I feel in such states we should have our own proprietary Starlink like service so that a lot of people definitely get educated and they get access to treatments, teletreatments. and a lot of safety services, and also for weather predictions as well. So I feel that's something very much the policymakers and the uh, telecom leaders of India should definitely look into that.
So the last date for filing ITR is around the corner. Today is 30th, and does July have a 31st?
Yes, July is the
31st
31st,
July. Yeah,
and
so tomorrow is the
everybody,
last date. So I filed my ITR. I'm wondering how is it for students studying abroad, if you're
yeah,
earning anything there
well,
or after.
yeah, well, as per the student laws over here, there's a cap for 1,200 euros per month. If you earn more than that, there is a tax percentage. I'm not exactly sure because my last employment was well below the taxable income. So
It was not well
it's
below
I
it. It
heard
was maybe a little
not
bit
well
below
below.
it.
Yeah, it was a bit below. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just trying to be modest
Almost
over
start
here.
100.
Yeah, yeah. So then it is between 10 to 20% tax, and it's actually refundable as long as you're a student over here, but you don't get back the social contribution that's paid to the government. You only get your tax when you file for taxes. You have a few applications, like there is one called tax free, I believe. I don't remember the exact spelling. There you pay a flat 50 euro for filing, and you have some other applications as well where you pay on a subscription basis, on a yearly basis. You file your taxes and you get a, and even here you get a good amount of refund as well. I know of few full-time employees getting refunds well above 1,000 to 2,000 euros on a yearly basis. And for me as a student, I also have, since the Indian government gets to know my account name and what I'm doing here, the data is shared between, because India and Germany has a DTAA Act. So I had to even declare my assets over here. But since this year, I was in India only for more than 45 days in the last financial year. I was less than 60 days. I need not declare anything, so I'm good with that.
Right.
And I also would definitely appreciate with the technology what the government has brought into filing of ITR. Most of it's get automated, but I feel
In
there is a lot
India
of
or
scrutiny in India, yeah.
okay. Is it
And
is
I
it
feel,
not so in Germany?
well, I heard here it's quite simplified compared to India, but because there's a lot of
But because you have
paperwork
not
in
filed,
India,
you're not sure yet, is it?
yeah, like I'm
And
not
what's the
filed, I'm not so
financial year,
sure.
year cycle there? Is it
Here it's Jan to December,
okay? I heard it's the
unlike
same
India.
for Canada as well.
Yeah, I assume it's the same for Canada. And over here, you sometimes you can visit there's a place called Finanzamt. They look after all your taxation. That's where you get your tax ID when you first get yourself registered in Germany. So the Finanzamt will definitely guide them for all the refunds and stuff. And you can meet the tax officer who can definitely guide you on that. I think those things are very convenient over here, is what I feel.
How OTT is going to scale even more for big movie makers, Pujari? That's the question everybody is wondering right now, and we need
Yeah,
answers.
yeah, definitely. Like for instance, I still remember how the movie Three Idiots was a game-changing movie in the Indian movie industry. It really inspired a lot of youths, and the movie maker himself stepped into his debut as an OTT director of a web series. I think definitely everyone should watch it. It's called Pritham and Pedro. It's about cyber security, and it's highly recommended for parents of kids who are well below the age of 10 to watch it, because it shows, yes, he is clearly depicted of how many instances of how the games, some deadly games impacted a lot of children mentally. And I feel a movie maker at that scale who was able to impact one of the widest audiences in India way back before there was OTT, or way back before YouTube got scaled. I feel if he's seeing something, definitely the other movie makers also has to see something. Maybe something the new movie makers might miss. So I feel OTT is going to be at the large scale. And out of my interest, I was just checking on the recently released movies in theaters, mostly the Indian language movies. I found out that most of the movies which have been very well reached to the audiences are through the OTT rather than what got released in the mainstream cinema. I feel the movie theaters are also going to be very obsolete in the next 5 years down the line.
Maybe they
Let's take
will
for instance,
get repurposed into, other things where maybe sporting events, or
yeah, sporting events.
re-releases. Some movies like, the ones that Christopher Nolan makes, people are going crazy, at least in Bangalore, right? Because Nolan also marketed the IMAX format so well. The 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 demand for IMAX is so high that even on weekdays you will struggle to find seats, and the seats are like 4x, 5x of the prices they normally are for other movies, right? In India, at least you'll see that the starting price for IMAX prices are like 1,200, 1,300 rupees. Uh, and this fever was earlier not there for other movies, but because IMAX is hyped up so much now, even non-IMAX movies like Spider-Man that is coming out, even that is starting at 1,200 on the opening weekend, which doesn't make sense in my opinion. At least back then when Infinity War and other Marvel movies, which were, um, kind of partly available in IMAX today, best viewed on IMAX, what they call, those would at max go to maybe 800, 900, but it is insane. So I don't know if I would uh, agree with the thing that, cinema going to theater offline in person is dying. Uh, Maybe the number of successes are coming down, but the volume of success on individual scales of movies are at least bigger. Like if the movies at least get really hyped up, they make a lot of money. um, like the Odyssey, maybe Spider-Man, right? Maybe the next Avatar or Avengers Doomsday that's coming up. All of these uh, movies that are hyped up beyond scale. uh,
Yeah, yeah.
because how much can you enjoy? Because if you see, these movies like these Avengers, right, or Spider-Man, people really want to watch with the fan base, with that excitement and with those level of sound effects. I really don't know if your homes, even if you have a home theater system, it will do justice to it.
Yeah, like I agree to this point, but I feel compared to the consistent on a, let's take for example a calendar year of 2016, or when did the Infinity War release? I believe it was 2019,
Yeah, 2018,
20
19 era.
2018-19 era. So if you consider the calendar year pre-COVID era, let's say you had a lot of movies lined up in a calendar year and you had a consistent amount of popularity of people going to the cinema. But I feel now it's becoming very more seasonal and very selective, because movies at that scale and getting that popular are becoming, let's say you have a very big release, just one or two big releases in a calendar year. So I feel that's where it's happening. And also, if you see into the real estate of Bangalore as well, a lot of old movie theaters are being demolished and being converted to other purposes, let's say shopping complexes and office spaces. So definitely, if realtors are also seeing this, definitely they know something that we all don't know. And also, I also admit myself that most of the moviegoers are also preferring to visit stand-up comedies shows, live stand-up comedy shows, and live drama theater. And I think those things are gonna come back
Yeah, I,
when it
I
compares to
agree with
movies.
that. I mean, there are a lot of alternate forms of entertainment that is coming up, which was probably not that available before. Um, earlier maybe entertainment, getting yourself entertained with your family or friends is probably going to a movie, but you have a lot of other options uh, to do now. Completely agree with that. Uh, but a lot of the theaters that are going that you mentioned are all single screen theaters. I still feel like bigger multiplexes with a lot of screens in a single floor are coming up, which completely outweighs the number of single screens that are going. Of course, it is sad that all these single screen theaters are going. Maybe it's just better land use, maybe instead of having uh, a single theater on 100 by 100 land, maybe you can make it 10 floors and have 10 screens. I guess I'm not sure how that's working,
Yeah,
but
again, I agree with that. I agree with the math behind that. Definitely it can be used in multi-purpose with the available the speeding of construction that is being done. You instead of relying on old buildings for maintenance, you could just demolish and build a new whole complex with movie theaters in just a span of an year. What used to take a couple of years or more than 2 years way back then. I feel yeah, like you're right. And since the audience, number of audiences have become very selective, as compared to back then, I feel, yeah, it's something that was bound to happen with the changing times, the changing business models in the movies is what I am noticing in that.
another hot take that you have that you texted me is mainstream cinema is dead, at least in India. Explain, please.
Yeah, like if I assume most of the movies that has been released
Define
in the
mainstream
last
cinema.
one. Mainstream cinema is all the popular actors who make movie and who used to give a really big $1 million hit, $1 billion hit back then, almost near to that at the scale of let's say they used to clock the movies used to hit around 800,000 crore. Even those actors are struggling to make a movie well above 100 crores. The collection is not moving beyond that, and I feel either it might be a lack in the story or people preferring OTT because I feel the OTT characters and the stories are gaining much more popularity thanks again to the internet penetration and also the comfortable ease of watching your movie on your own time. I feel, yeah, so I feel mainstream cinema is dead. At least for me myself, it's been almost more than a year I've visited a movie theater to watch, and because I definitely find comfortable in watching in my own time and free time. Thanks to again the affordable OTT subscription. Let's say I would just give a classical example of how costing would be calculated just by a common man in India. Let's say he has to go, it's a family of four. He and his wife and kids, they have to go watch a movie. Today, if you go to a multiplex theater, multi-screen theater, you would definitely take a rough ticket size of one ticket. Let's say it's 400, and they're a family of four, and including the fuel cost he has to spend to commute to there, and all the added snacks what he buys in the movie theater. With the half of the cost, you definitely get a subscription to watch with the whole family in their free time at the comfort of his home. And today, the cost of large screen OLED screen TVs are also being very affordable compared to when they were launched. So I feel that definitely there's a shift in that, and also the home theaters are very affordable. So yeah, I feel that's one of the main key reasons that attributes to my uh, opinion that mainstream cinema is gonna be dead.
I guess we'll see the numbers when the big names of this year come out, which is seeming to be um, uh, Ranbir Kapoor as Ram in Ramayana, right?
Yes,
Uh, let's see,
and
look
also
at the numbers.
toxic, and also let's see, we have to see the numbers again. But you know, the COVID has attributed a lot to this because after the COVID hit, the OTT gained the most popularity back in the OTT, back in those days. Me and my family, myself, we never had an OTT subscription, even though Amazon Prime existed even before pre-COVID era as well. We ourselves started to subscribe to OTT since the last 6 years, just when COVID hit and and we were all locked up in our homes. So I feel, yeah, it's only time's gonna tell that, and how the market re-changes. We never know how the people's sentiments towards these are. Yeah, it's only time's gonna be telling that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Likit Pujari for you. It was a great episode. Likit Pujari, let's connect soon.
Yeah, let's
Have a
connect
great
soon. It
week.
was a really good one. Great week. Have a great week.